ways, Karen, some good tidbits around the place at the moment, and the hub is still something that's fascinating us all.
Yeah, the club chief executives had a hook-up today, Ed, with the AFL, and they were told that there's some despondency really about the West Australian situation. There is every chance now, the clubs were told, that certainly in the first instance, when the two WA clubs fly home to Perth, they will be able to play each other in week one, and obviously while they're in quarantine. Two probably Victorian clubs. Well, before we say which clubs and what might happen, let's have a listen to your coach last week.
We're open-minded into how we share that load across the 18 clubs, and if it means that we travel into a hub and play some games in WA or in Queensland, or even South Australia, depending on what the back end of the season looks like, we'd be comfortable to do that.
So it looks like two Victorian clubs will fly over to Perth unless Mark McGowan, the Premier, backs down from his decision not to open up the borders.
Two Victorian teams could go over, stay in isolation, play each other.
Live at the Crown Promenade, near the ground.
And then that would get them whatever amount of time of quarantine.
So say it's Collingwood and... Well, it probably won't be...
We said Collingwood St Kilda back 12 weeks ago, didn't we, as an example?
Yep. So say it's Collingwood and St Kilda. They could play each other in week one. Then both Collingwood and St Kilda would play Freo and West Coast and then come home. If the borders still haven't come down, then two more clubs would have to go over. It looks now, because of WA and the uncertainty, that when Travis Old, the AFL executive in charge of the fixture, unveils the next round of games next week, it looks like he might only unveil one game. One more game and only two at the most.
Yeah, I know that they're trying to work it out. Interesting, though, just refer back to the last conversation in the last break about the fixturing of the games. It's also, as the crowds start to open up, we want to make sure that you've got the teams going into whether Queensland, New South Wales or Western Australia can maximise those crowds. So
that's a good out for Collingwood. You won't have to go
I'll use Collingwood as an example. Collingwood has an agreement with the Queensland Government and the Brisbane Lions to play up there. Now, if they opened up the Gabba, Collingwood up last year, filled the place out, it would be a boon for Queensland tourism, tick from the government, great for the home team, the Brisbane Lions, and that would work. If Collingwood has to go over to West Australia, no problem. As Buck said, wherever we get sent, we will go. And I think every club has that feel. We want to share it around as much because we want to lower that asterisk, make it smaller on the end of that cup. So whoever wins it without having anyone pointing saying, oh, we had it harder than somebody else.
A lot of talk also, Ed, and Matthew and Ross, around the player payments. Obviously, that negotiation is still to come. The players are very much holding firm now and saying, well, you've only had a 12% to 15% loss in your broadcast revenue for the next couple of years. We will not be negotiating a huge salary loss, certainly not the 20% that was previously mentioned. And the list sizes...
Can I just mention on that, though, Carolyn, it's not the AFL necessarily as well. The clubs have lost a truckload that's not coming back. OK, it's gone.
The list sizes, I don't think, will come down dramatically next year. The soft cap will be discussed by the AFL Commission next week. It will be a soft cap, not a hard cap. It will come down, as we know, by several $1 million. Clubs who go over that cap potentially will be taxed a lot of money.